Hey Anis, good to meet you and welcome to Launch Day.
Thanks for having me, Dagobert. Appreciate it.
Yeah, so last week we were supposed to have a call and then there was like a problem in your calendar or something, so we couldn't
Yeah,
have it.
yeah, I'm so sorry, man. I thought it was at 12,
But
but I don't know. I messed up. I'm really sorry about that. It's now 8
yeah,
8:30 right now where I am. I'm in Toronto.
oh okay, I was gonna
Yeah,
ask you. So you're in Toronto, yeah, so there was
yeah,
like a mismatch.
yeah.
So right now for me it's like 2:30 because I'm in Lille, France. And for you it must be the morning right now, I guess.
Yeah, it is exactly 8:30 a.m. That's right. You're in the city of love, so I wish I was in Paris, man, but I'm not. I'm in Toronto, in the middle of
Yeah.
snow.
Yeah, how is it? How is Toronto? Because I never been.
It's all right. I wouldn't recommend coming during the winter season. We had a snowstorm. It was so bad a Delta plane toppled over. You may have heard about it in the news upon landing.
Yeah, I've seen there was a lot
And
of things around that, but yeah.
yeah, it was pretty
Okay,
bad.
so
So we had, I think, a ton of snow, like really high snow. Can't remember the
so
exact
like
amount.
very
20
harsh
centimeters
winters.
maybe. I can't remember. But yeah,
So like very harsh winters, very cold,
very
I
harsh.
guess.
So come during spring, summer, lots to do, a lot of festivals. Um, yeah, you'll meet really interesting people, lots of amazing culture and food. People from all over the world pretty much
Hmm.
live in Toronto.
Yeah, a lot of French people love to go to Canada, and I think especially they go to Quebec because it's people speak French. So there, and in France, a lot of people don't speak English. So we want to go to the US, but we can't. So we go to Quebec because
Yes,
they
uh,
speak French, and it's kind of the same.
it's
So
kind of, they speak Quebecois French. I don't know much about it, but what I know is that people from France, they make fun of Quebecois French, and people from
for
Quebecois
sure,
French
we
make
make
fun
fun of
of
everyone. To be fair,
French. So
we make fun of everyone. That's our culture. Yeah.
you guys both make fun of each
Uh,
other, so it's all right.
yeah, yeah. Okay, cool, man. So I'm just like curious, like how. So you're an indie hacker now, and like how did you get there? How did you end up here?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a long story. I'll try to keep it short. But many years ago, I was interested in building, connecting artists from all over the world, and I didn't know how to code at the
Okay.
time, and so I created a wireframe because I just used this thing called Pencil Project. It's still around, and then I
Okay.
created the wireframe with all the details, made a ton of mistakes, hired developers from abroad, which is a huge
Oh.
mistake, and then
Okay.
spent a ton of money, just like you did, a lot of money of my own money. I ended up attracting quite a bit of audience, and people were like, wanted to
So
say,
what do you mean connecting artists? Just so
"Oh
I have an
yeah,
idea what that means.
okay, sure." So it means that let's say you're an actor or a director or a producer, and you want to meet people within the industry so you guys can collaborate and build something like an installation or a short video. And at the
Yeah.
time, the tools that we have available now, they weren't available. This is going back like 2012, 2013, around that
Yeah.
time when like Patreon began coming surfacing. And at that time, I was building something which sort of rivaled Patreon. They had a lot more funding. I was on my own, so it connects people together locally wherever you are, and you basically and we help you also secure some funding, whether it's through some sort of individual investor or bursary or whatever, and then you get a
Yeah.
little bit of money. Maybe you don't need the money, but we at least collect talent, and then whatever you release is then shared with an audience that we have for you. We identify the audience within Toronto or wherever you are to help support your project. So if you're
So it
releasing
kind
a
of like
short video,
Kickstarter, but like with more work on your end. I guess you're doing more the role of a connector instead of letting people figure it out themselves.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So there's a fan side to it, and then there's a creator side to it, and we connect them. It's not that good. I mean, it's at the time I thought it was a great idea. What was missing is that it's better to just focus on one thing. I was focusing on too many things, right?
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
better to
that's
just
always
focus on
that.
one
Yeah.
feature and do it really well. I
So many
identify that
ideas
actually.
because you think it's a cool idea, you see all the potential, and so you
Yeah,
have thousands of feature ideas, but people really care about just one, and having 1,000 confuses them, and then you lose your resources.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what happened. So that's how I started. I built that. It failed. And then I just said, screw this. I'm just going to learn how to code. So then I started to learn how to code on my own.
So
I ended
when
up
was
learning.
that you started? So when was that you
Back
started
in,
learning to
in
code?
2018, I started. Like legit,
Okay,
like
cool.
2018 is when I
Yeah.
started to. So during that time, I was just more on trying to build my own things, recruiting other people, and it just didn't work out for me. So I'm like, this is not the way I want to do it because I have to rely on other people. If I'm in the middle of the night and I want to do something, I can't wait for them. I just got to do it.
Yeah, that's a nightmare. I worked with many people like this because I was a developer who was, hired in that case, and you can see how you just don't have the speed, you don't have the agility, you cannot do things you want, and then everything becomes a question of cost, and so everything becomes a trade-off. So you cannot experiment freely because you're afraid, oh, if this experiment fails, I'm wasting €5,000 or dollars, and like it's just like the wrong mindset, and that's why people raise money, to be honest, because it's like it's so scary to be in that frame, So that's why you learn to code.
Yeah, you hit it on the nail. That's exactly it. And if, let's say you release a feature and you realize this is not good, I need to change this, then what do? Or you release too many features and you're like, dude, I gotta cut this, it costs, every little thing costs. So I'm like, forget this. And then I just really got into coding and I started building a ton of stuff on my own. I had zero experience in terms of I should have released all those things that I built. I put it on my GitHub, but good idea is that even if you build little things, release it on Product Hunt or release it on Reddit or release it on, meet people like you and say, hey, I did this cool thing. It's free. Check it out, right? I didn't do any of that stuff. So I had an upward battle. And then I realized many years later, this is how it's done. So I was immersed in building all these things. I have a full-time job, but I do this on the side, because I love to code. So after that, I landed into a startup and I was one of the first engineers they hired. So they gave me a really nice equity. And I was there for 2.5 years and I exited and I made some money.
Wow, that's pretty uncommon. Usually they give you, that's because usually they give you equity and it's worth shit because it never pans out, but you managed to exit. That's your first exit, man.
It's not your thing. So,
but that's quite an achievement in itself. It's quite good, lucky man. Also. But it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah, the CEO is amazing. The guy's really it's Open Screen. They're still around. The guy's really cool. So he hired me and then just for personal reasons I had to leave. So 2.5 years later I left and I said he actually honored his side of the deal and cashed out my equity. So I made a nice sum and then after
Wonderful.
that. During that time, I started getting into AI pretty heavily, like everybody else, LLMs.
So must have been recently. When was that?
Yeah, that was recent. That was actually not that recent, about 1.5 years ago. Yeah.
Okay.
So 1.5 years ago.
And I just gotta say, sorry for interrupting, but you have the same voice as Jeff Bezos. Like if I don't look at you and I just listen, I feel like I'm hearing one of the, shorts I see on Instagram about Jeff Bezos giving you business tips.
Oh wow!
I don't know. You sound like him. It's interesting.
That's interesting. No one has ever said that to me, but that's cool. I guess he's awesome.
Yeah, I hear. Yeah, I'm wondering if people hear it too. Once you notice it, maybe you start seeing it. So anyway,
you may want to remove the video and part of me and just say Jeff Bezos interview with Jeff Bezos.
yeah. He has a new project. He's telling us all about it. Okay, so you exited this job, let's say, and with equity.
Yeah.
And I guess also, I just want to say, it must have felt pretty good for someone who's not a programmer, learn programming on the side, and then get hired as a developer. It must be a cool feeling, to feel like it's validating and it's also encouraging and you learn a ton, I guess.
Yeah, I think people are also pretty kind. So I worked my ass off. Like I would work literally 10, 12 hours a day of just coding. And this is not like coding as in you go on Instagram a little bit and then you do this a little bit.
I see what you mean.
No, it's actual hardcore. You get up, you code for an hour or 2 hours straight, you get up, get some coffee, come back, eat a little bit, code again. And I was building a ton of stuff, and I think I skilled up pretty quickly because of that reason. And I learned all the sides. I learned front-end, back-end, DevOps. I learned everything. So when they saw what I could do, and I built, in the interview, he said, he was interviewing me. I said, well, I'll build it for you. So within a few hours, he gave me an idea. I built it. I showed it to him. It had to do with QR codes, and he says, "Oh, okay, you're hired." So that's pretty much how it happened. Yeah. And so Wonderful. He was very nice. I think part of the reason I got hired is because the guy took a chance on me. People don't usually take a chance. I was I was actually the first person they hired,
and he sounds
the CTO
like the
and myself
founder.
were the first two they hired, and
okay.
So that doesn't typically happen. So I have to give him credit for that. Yeah.
Yeah, but that sounds like this guy is like a founder. Like he's, I mean, like he's an entrepreneur. He's a builder himself, or like he
Yeah.
knows these things. Maybe not coding, but like he, and so he can appreciate somebody who's a self-starter, somebody who's like has high agency, as we say nowadays. Like somebody like
Yeah.
that. And so because the job I took after my burnout, I took a job for a while, and the guy who hired me was like that. Like
Exactly.
I don't have the traditional curriculum because I was applying for product manager and I had never done product management. But I built a startup for 5 years and I had all this experience. So he said, no, you're like 5 years experience. And he gave me this job. But it was a small startup and he was, the same mindset. So I think, because like when we say that what you learn building your own things can translate in job opportunities, it's true, but mostly in startup job opportunities. Like it's going to be hard to be hired by a bank if you've been 5 years indie hacking. They're not necessarily going to value it. But if you work for a small startup or like something that's starting, they will see somebody who can do all these things and they will be like, okay, you solve the QR code thing in 3 hours, you're hired. I don't care where you come from, it's cool.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Exactly. So he saw, I think people who are entrepreneurs, particularly within the indie space, they're able to see talent under the surface. They can see the passion, they can see the drive. Whereas if you hire for
yeah.
bigger companies, it's like, okay, let's see if you can do this coding challenge. Well, yeah, I can do it. I just need to study for like 3 months and do like
Yeah.
1,000 problems.
To
And
be
then
honest, I
sure,
can't do it. I
like,
applied to work at like Automatic, like the company who does WordPress,
yeah.
and they threw me a challenge. I'm like, fuck this, I cannot do this challenge,
The
and I
thing
failed.
is, we all can. It's just we just have to invest our time, a lot of time, to learn it, right? You got to learn all these
Yeah,
data
but that's so
structured things.
stupid. That's
So
so
why would you want to
that,
do that unless?
yeah, it's useless. So
Yeah,
you
exactly.
will
So
figure it out on the job, But
exactly,
yeah,
and or you can learn on the side, but that's not how you really identify real talent. You look at what the person, give them a real like
yeah,
project to
exactly.
do, and see what they can build. At least that's what he did with me, right? He actually didn't even do that. I just did it. But so then
Yeah, I
after
see.
that, I exited, and then I took 4 months off, and I started learning about LLMs. And during that time, and I deployed it. I'm still working on it. I can't say much about it, but I deployed an alpha version, and then it didn't. I ended up accidentally deleting the entire database. So it's not a good thing.
Oh
But
shit.
thankfully, these were like alpha, and I told them that this is not ready yet. So crazy things are going to happen because I'm experimenting with certain types of databases, time series databases, other types of databases that I was
Okay.
just playing
Okay.
around with. So they knew that if they lost their data, it's not that big of a deal. And I didn't charge them anything. It was totally free. It's because I wanted to
Okay.
learn.
Yeah.
So it wasn't like nothing dangerous. Because I would typically in a production, I have like many different replicas, and there's no way.
Oh
you
yeah,
won't
for
do
sure.
data.
Yeah, in production
Never
it's
ever,
completely
right?
different. Yeah. Okay.
So that project, worked on it for 4 months. I released it, and then it didn't pan out exactly. They as I thought. The demand is still there, but I pivoted to a different feature, and which is what I'm working on at the moment. I've involved one of
Okay.
my
So
friends as well.
what was the insights that make you? So what are you working on now, and like how did you come to it? Like
Sure,
concretely.
sure. So after this, I did Deployfast, which we'll get to. But this one, the way I came to it is because I noticed a trend within social media. Sure, people are reading, but people are more they're gravitating to images and video
Yeah.
content.
Yeah.
So I started asking myself, well, there are these massive companies that are using LLMs to generate videos and generate images. What can I do in that space? So then I'm using LLMs, and so that's the project I'm working with. I mean, I don't want to say too much because, to be honest with you, there isn't much to say. It's at the moment we're using LLMs to generate images. That's part of it. But there are other features that you discover when you launch it and you work with people who use your product, and then that's at that point you realize you touch upon a feature. You say, "Oh, this thing I think will work," because that's what they.
Okay, so that's a product you started a few before the one you're showing now, but you're
Yes,
still experimenting and it's still like something you're doing and it's not ready yet.
it's not ready yet.
So, and then the product you're doing now. So, how did you come to do it? Because now
Yeah, so
I
this is a
wanted to know
crazy
that.
thing. One of my friends a while back told me about this. I think you know who it is. He started Shift Fast, Mark Lau.
For sure,
Pretty much
yeah.
everybody knows him. So So and one of my friends had told me about him. I completely forgot. Then at work, this one of my colleagues, a friend of mine, he also brought it up. He goes, "Hey, have you seen this?" And I go, "Oh shit, yeah." And then it sparked my memory. And then I started looking at it. I'm like, dude, this is pretty cool. But they're currently deploying it on Vercel, and it's a personal pain of mine. It was actually I hate deploying on Vercel. Nothing against Vercel; they're a cool company. But they use Lambdas under the hood. You have cold start issues, like you launch a site and there are all these latency issues, and then cost can actually climb up when you begin to grow and
all these deployment things, like this easy deployment.
Yeah.
It's like it's not for long term, because then it costs you 100 times more than if you just have simpler server. That's basically a big trap of. I feel like it's a big trap of all these big companies pushing technology to get us stuck in this. Like they give you free credits, they give you everything, and then you're stuck with this crazy thing and you don't know how to deploy anything. And for sure, it's cool at the beginning to ship fast, like Mark Louvion, recommends.
Totally
and it's a good philosophy.
Yeah.
But there's also a dark side to it.
Yeah, exactly. You hit it on the nail. So I'm nothing against Vercel or DigitalOcean or anyone. They all work. You guys they can use it. They don't have to use Deployfast. But the difference is that at the very least, if you use Deployfast, you'll be in complete control. You'll decide exactly how many instances you want to deploy. And it's just one page that you fill out with your credentials. You type one command, you hit enter, and it deploys it. And you're in complete control. And there's full visibility.
So can you show us the landing page? Because it was funny to me to see that it looks quite similar to ShipFast. Like it's kind of like you just took the same landing page.
I copied him because I copied his page because I'm saying that if you bought Mark's boilerplate, you can actually deploy it using Deployfast. So instead of going to Vercel,
you're kind of like an add-on. I mean, you're not just that, but it's also kind of an add-on product to ShipFast. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's complementary. And the reason I did is because it's a pain of mine. I was having problems with Vercel, and I used it at various companies, and it was just a pain for me. So to solve that, I did it. Yeah. But the reason I did it is because I got inspiration by looking at Mark's product. And I'm like, dude, so he has a template. I have my own template that I use, and I deploy it on Vercel all the time. I hate it.
Yes.
So I said I might as well just take his stuff and make it available to all the people who bought his stuff, so they can use Deployfast to deploy Mark's template.
Or other things, I guess. You can deploy anything. But can you show us?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, let me just show you really quickly. Let me just share screen. So here it is, if you guys can see this.
Yeah. So it's very similar to ShipFast, which is quite funny when I saw it. But at least you understand exactly the value is going to be speed. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. So this is deliberate. Is because I'm using his template. This is his template. I changed it all.
Yeah, I recognize it.
And then there's a lot of work that I had to do to make it look exactly or close to his. And then I talk about why I did it, because in part, as I mentioned, the Vercel uses Lambdas, and I don't use Lambdas. I use EC2 instances through AWS. And, and there's a video here. If you have time, you can go through it. It shows how to first set up your DNS and HTTPS by filling out this one sheet with your credentials and typing one command. And it'll just set up your DNS and Route 53 first, right? So then when you type in this URL, for example, you'll have a certificate automatically assigned to you. And that's the first step. And there are other series of videos that I'm working on right now. It's here. It's I just put in fake stuff here right now because I'm working on them, so they can enjoy some comedy shows or whatever as I'm building out these videos, which take a lot of time and effort. So this is the first video. Then I'm gonna take a moment to watch a funny short while I work on releasing the second video, which is gonna show you how to deploy it again with one line of code, filling these credentials out.
So just to be clear, so basically the goal is to replace Vercel in the deployment or any kind of like easy deployment like this with like a more like to keep the simplicity, but use like the how can I say the fundamental tools that they're all using behind the scenes. Like you're using directly AWS or something else, and you're saving a shit ton of money by doing that and have more power, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Well, exactly. But at the moment, I'm targeting just Next.js. So later on, my goal is depending on how well it does. If people actually find use value in this, I don't know. Maybe people will say no, this is too much, or they don't need it at the moment because they're just starting out, or they say no, I really want to learn, and a bunch of people jump on and they start using it, and they see the value in it, and they see the speed at which they can deploy their Next.js applications. Then at that point, I'll release one for Angular. I'll also release one for, you could then at that point you can choose any framework you want and deploy it, because it is at the moment I made it just specifically for Next.js and nothing else. So
I see. And did you contact Mark about it? Because maybe you could do a partnership or something. You can give him 50% commission or something. And
yeah, I did. I have a affiliate marketing program. So like if people are interested, they can click on this affiliate marketing, and there's also a brand kit that they can use. So I did reach out to him and I said, hey, if you can share this, I'll give you 30% of all sales. If you can share this with your people who bought this, with you, then maybe that it will help you generate extra revenue, and you don't have to do anything else. But to your point, maybe I should offer him 50%. Maybe then it'll really spark.
Yeah. So you didn't get in touch with him? You did? Or you didn't?
I did. I sent him an email call. He never got back to me. It's okay. I know he's busy. He works a lot, so it's all good. I get it.
He has a billion things.
Yeah, so I'll try to reach out to him again and say, like what you suggested, I'll give him more, maybe 50, 60 or whatever. We'll see. And see how.
Because even now, I saw he had something where like a list of products he was recommending and getting affiliate commission for on a page somewhere. So maybe you could get into that. Like deploy fast makes sense. Or maybe he's going to be pissed off that you copied him. I don't know. But, you'll see. Because like indie hackers, we like to say we're on Twitter and we say, oh yeah, it's all a nice vibe. We're all copying each other. It's all cool. And then somebody copies. You're like, fuck this guy, So you can never know how people will react. But
the thing is, I didn't actually copy him. I bought his template. I don't need to buy his Next.js. I can build it myself. But I did it to support him, right? And then and that's one reason. The second reason I bought it is because I wanted to see if I can actually deploy his app using my code, my DevOps code, and I was able to.
Yeah, for sure.
So then I said, hey, I just deployed his template using my DevOps code. And so you know what? Maybe other people will find it valuable too, and they won't be stuck into Vercel space or DigitalOcean space. And maybe they want to learn how to do this by looking at my code.
That's awesome.
A ton of work. Even with AIs, it's a ton of work. They can't just write all this out. You have to know certain things and how to piece it together.
Oh yeah, deployment is one of the hardest things with AI. Actually, I noticed like deploying is like way harder. Because you have to connect everything anyway.
Exactly.
And it's like coding a feature is way easier with AI than.
Deploying. It does help, but you still need to have some understanding of how to set up a pipeline. For example, when you use Deployfast, you can see that there's, it goes through a series of steps. So first it launches your application, then it sets up the infrastructure, and then it deploys it. And then once it's done, you can literally like one line of code to update your servers, or you can update memory, or you can update whatever with one line of code. You can just go into one file and put in whatever you need and write the command, and it'll update everything for you. So all that is automatically done for you. And that's the advantage. Sure, you can even choose any database you want. With Deployfast. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Right? So point being is, it's not for everybody, but if people are interested in learning how to do this and they don't want to be stuck in Vercel or DigitalOcean, as you mentioned earlier, which does get expensive once you start growing, then they may want to consider an alternate option, which is this.
And so actually, that's interesting because I didn't realize, but is it a template that you're giving? Is it a tool? Is it a tutorial? What is exactly the product?
It's a code. I'm giving them code. So just like ShipFast, he gives code. He sells his code, which is a framework. Mine is a framework as well, but it's under the hood is just code. That's all it is. But it's how you structure the code, right? And that's what differentiates.
So it's basically a deployment boilerplate.
It's a deployment boilerplate. That's well put. That's exactly what it is. And it's using very specific technologies to do it. But yeah.
And so do you have a discount for people on launch day that you're thinking of?
I did. I gave everybody $100 off, but I mean, I'm thinking of giving them maybe through you. I can give them more. So if they
Yeah,
mention
the
you,
real
that's just,
idea of launch day is to give as much as possible so it motivates people to share on social media because you need to share on social media to get the discount. And
yeah.
if everybody does it, which I'm pushing every founder to do, hopefully we can get viral and get more visibility.
That's a good
So,
point. So currently, I've set the same prices as ShipFast, which was 269 and 299. I dropped it by 100 to 199 and 169. I think for your audience, maybe I could just bring it down an additional $100. So it'll just be 69 and 99. So they save
yeah, wow,
$200
awesome.
total, right? So if they mention
That's
you,
awesome.
then they'll get an additional $100 off. And I just need to set that up in
Awesome.
Stripe. And then once
Yeah,
it's done, I'll
so
send
we'll
you the
put
code.
we'll set it up like offline. I mean offline without outside of this call, and we'll put it on this page so people can unlock it.
Awesome.
So, wow, okay, cool, man, that's awesome. Thanks for sharing all that with us. I really enjoyed it. That was cool meeting you and
Thanks,
discovering your
man.
product.
Yeah, thanks. I don't know if I
Yeah,
answered all your questions, but yeah, after the image thing, now I have a full-time job as a cybersecurity guy. So I code in the cybersecurity world. But
wow,
yeah, and then I do this, as you know, the life of a indie hacker. I love to code, so I do this for fun in the
I
evening.
see.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And do you have any? What are your future plans? Like, do you have it like this project? Like for this project specifically? I mean, you kind of like touched on that, or maybe for other things. Have any things?
Um, Future plans. Where I work, the CTO is really cool. He's really, yeah, and so he said, you can work from anywhere you want. So I might take him up on that.
Nice.
So I might just take off for like 6 months and work from anywhere I want. I might just go to Spain and learn like Spanish while I'm
Amazing.
coding, in the evenings. But I don't know, maybe I'm not sure yet. But travel is definitely in the
Yeah.
cards because the CTO has encouraged it. So I'm seriously thinking about doing that.
Damn, you're attracting very cool CEOs and CTOs. You're finding you need maybe that should be your next product. Job board with only cool CEOs and CTOs. For because I want it. So
But I
that's
guess
cool.
one tip I could give if you're asking that is that whenever they ask me in an interview like stuff, and if I don't know something, I just tell them, hey, I don't know this. I can learn it though. And they go, you know what? You're refreshingly straight up. So I go, yeah, obviously. I'm not
Yeah,
gonna
you have a good
bullshit
life,
you.
and to be fair, I really think it's the Jeff Bezos voice that kind of like sounds way. It makes you sound default trustworthy, so maybe that's why. But yeah,
Maybe. Maybe that's what it is.
that's the secret all this time. They
Oh
and you
my
didn't
God.
know. Oh my god, yeah.
You're hilarious, man. Yeah, I'm starting a rocket
Okay,
company next.
yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah, and ship fast. All of these are like rocket emojis, so it makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, man. So that was awesome to have you. So good luck. I hope
Same.
you get, traffic and sales from this launch day.
I hope
And
so.
good luck with everything, man.
I appreciate it a lot.
Okay.
Thank you so much for your time. It's great meeting you,
Yeah,
everyone.
cheers.
Bye.